Why?
Because I'm broke
Don't take me anywhere.
Yes, I do.
Where you take me?
When I do poetry shows and
No,
stuff
you
like
don't
that.
take me, I show up.
Same thing.
You
My
get
spirit
invited.
hurt you there.
Okay. Brandon, can you share the link in the group text? Okay. No. It's just on YouTube.
What's your name again?
Emmanuel?
Man, I knew that.
Yeah. I about to say you should. I beat you in bones.
That's
You
one of
should
my
know me.
favorite songs.
Huh?
That's one of my favorite songs.
Yeah, I know. YAHS Assembly?
I was
Okay. So I'm going to start in prayer real quick 'cause I'm trying to get y'all out of here. So, dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for your word which endures forever. Father, we ask for you to forgive us of our sins and the sins of our ancestors. We thank you for perfect health and vitality in all of our bodies, Father. We thank you for your hand being stretched out still, Father. We thank you for just for forgiving us, Father. Thank you for your mercy again, Father. Thank you for giving us a chance at eternal life, Father. And we pray that your word goes forth today, Father. All these things we do ask and pray in the name of your beloved Son, Yahushua HaMashiach. Amen. So, we've been going over a series called to Turn the Hearts of the Fathers to the Children and the Hearts of the Children to the Fathers. So, it's really about us men getting right. It's not really so much about the women, but also one of the things that we have to do as men is we have to let them know true history. We have to be able to decipher the things so we can all know who our enemies are. So today we're going to actually get to the 7 kings, and we have to have a better understanding about Dinah. That's what we went over, I think, the last Shabbat. So basically, Jacob had 12 sons and a daughter. The daughter, her name was Dinah. So the daughter and some of her maidservants, they went out to go chill with the Canaanite-ish people. They had this women's festival where they were going around dancing and all this other type of stuff. And what happened was a prince of the Amorites named Shechem, or the Hivites named Shechem, saw her and didn't recognize who she was. Found out who she was, and so he had his people take her, and then he forcibly raped her, and then he tried to get Jacob to allow him to marry her. He said, I'll give you anything you want, marry her, give a dowry, whatever, right? So because the men weren't being the covenant they were supposed to be, since they weren't there, because apparently there were men there at this women's festival also, she got taken, she got raped. That falls on us. That's our responsibility, is to protect them, right? And so a war almost ensues, but Levi and Simeon end up killing all the men that lived in Shechem. So the Israelites, they tricked them into all the men from this place to get circumcised. And then the Israelites, they circumcised them. And then these people from Shechem, they were all going to come together and then try to kill all the Israelites. So that night, before they could even do anything, Simeon and Levi came in and they killed over 645 men, just them two, slaying everybody. And so Jacob, their father, is scared that all the other, Canaanites, Amorites, whatever, they're going to come and they're going to try to destroy them. But the fear and the terror of the Most High, of Yahuwah, was upon them. So he prayed, right? Then he got his father Isaac to pray that the fear and terror will be upon them, to where there was over 10,000 kings or people from the Amorites. It was like 7 kings and 10,000 people came, and they were getting ready to fight against 112 Israelites and servants. But the fear fell upon them because they're like, how can 2 men destroy a whole city? So that's why, as fathers, as men, as protectors of the covenant, we have to understand that our prayers are powerful, especially over our children. So they prayed that prayer of fear and terror to be upon them, to where, like again, it was 10,000 to 112. And the 10,000 ran away scared of the 112. Because like, if 2 people can kill that many people, then we don't have a chance, Because when the Most High is with you, nothing can be against you. So when I'm talking about Dinah, right? About the thing about her name Dinah, it actually means judgment. So when Shechem, or the Canaanites, or the Amorites, when they actually allowed him to take her, nobody stopped him from doing any of this stuff. They didn't realize that they were facing judgment, because that's what her name literally meant. That's why all of the men died. It was a judgment. And then they took the covenant, the circumcision, into their flesh, so they had to die. So we have to understand that judgment is coming to America. with inflation, with the supply chain system, Trump and all of them, but with this next election next year, it's going to be nuts. And it's Dinah, again, because it's judgment. And so Dinah was a daughter of Jacob, or we are also called the daughters of Zion, right? Have they not raped us? Have they not persecuted us? Have they not done us evil, not realizing that the evil that's been done to us is going to be done to them? It's literally looking them in the face and they have no idea. So with this one, though, this one is about Judah must go first also, because there are certain things that is going to end up happening. But us as men, we've got to be in our right standing. We got to be in our right mindset. I know you were ex-military. When the stuff hits the fan, I know you'll be ready to do whatever it is you have to do. But everybody's not there yet. Because when the stuff really hits the fan, if it's a civil war, if it's a nuclear war, we know this place is going to burn. Like, that's coming. So, again, this is mainly about us men being ready for the days to come, right? So, first, I'm going to go to Jeremiah 51. And I'm just going to read, it'll be on the screen, verses 20 through 23. And it reads, "You are my battle axe and weapons of war. For with you will I break in pieces the nations, and with you I will destroy kingdoms." So what does that mean to you?
If I'm with you, you ain't gotta worry about it.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Right, exactly. It says, "And with you will I break in pieces the horse and his rider, and with you will I break in pieces the chariot and his rider. With you also will I break in pieces man and woman. And with you will I break in pieces old and young. And with you will I break in pieces the young man and the maid." Because America's going to end up being a third world country, probably, I'll say, inside of the next 30 years. The writing's on the wall in this place. "I will also break in pieces with you the shepherd and his flock. And with you will I break in pieces the husbandman and his yoke of oxen. And with you I will break in pieces captains and rulers." So in the olden days, we know men fought back then. Like, they did what they had to do to protect their people. That's why I'm saying, with you being in the military, when the stuff hits the fan, it's going to be an automatic switch that goes off. But not everybody, because a lot of our men have become Gentile men or gentlemen, right? So they want us to be soft all the time and meek and not even want to protect our own.
Turn the other cheek.
Right.
I think also that, from being around military sons and
Mhm.
for their friends, I think the military also, destroys their faith.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, my sons, I know all their friends, or most of their friends, and out of all their friends I know one person in his family that no matter where they go, they find a church.
Mhm.
They find God, they find a church to go to.
Gotcha.
It doesn't matter where it's located, if it's in that country or that city, they're gonna find a church. But they're the only ones out of everybody my sons know that do that.
That's good.
Yeah.
Because, like, our faith is going to be tried so much. So when this supply chain system, like, ends up imploding and we have to depend on each other,
Yeah.
and you can't go to a fast food restaurant, you can't eat 3 times a day, you got to depend on YAHUAH, the God or the Eloah, or that provides. So in that time, in this time, we got to make sure that we're working out our faith muscles, and throw a little fast in there every now and
I
then.
have a question.
Yeah.
Just, it's an opinionated question.
Mhm.
Before all this happened,
Mhm.
which you're talking kind of like about Armageddon or whatever
Mhm.
it's called, do you think the rapture is gonna come before that?
So
Or do you believe in the rapture?
okay, I'm gonna read some of Daniel 7, and then we'll actually talk about that. Let's do that. So
I was just curious.
no, okay, that's fine. So just remember that question. Go ahead.
Having been a truck driver, most of my time,
I'm gonna turn that on.
you see big name companies. You see all the big name companies. Alright. You see all the big name companies, the truck driving companies, Yellow, Warner, TMC, so on and so forth. And I'm starting to see a lot of them close. A lot of the big name companies close. Yellow's been open company's closed, yada, 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 take the trailer, or they've been rerouted by somebody to go somewhere and park until further notice. And in the trucking industry, they don't come tell you, hey, we got you another ride home. They don't care. All they care about is the load. So there's a lot of people that's stranded out there. Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, they don't care about you. TMC is probably one of the only companies that I know of that will get you home. They'll find a way to get you home. But then again, it's a multi-billion dollar company, so we really don't care about you.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of shipping containers that are still, like, they've been waiting for like 2 and 3 months, you know, to finally give us the goods. And with the things that's going on with BRICS, are y'all aware of what BRICS is? BRICS is, was it Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and other nations are also going to join that. So what they're doing is they're all choosing the Chinese yuan, and they're all basically coming against everything America. And so now you're about to see a big shift. You're about to see America go back into what Trump was trying to do, to start making our own steel, making our own, you know, fruits and vegetables and everything again. And it's probably going to be too late. That's why we got to start doing, you know, our part like now. But because, like, you know, what you're talking about, Armageddon, and because we know that the kingdom of heaven, right? The way we've been raised and been taught it in church, you know, it's going to be like when you die, it's going to be a kingdom, right? It's going to last forever. But that's what they've taught us, and that's not, I mean, don't get me wrong, if you're not alive in that time frame, then yes. But a lot of us are actually going to be alive when these things start to get established. Maybe it'll be your kids, maybe our kids, maybe it'll be grandkids, right? So we're going to go to Daniel 7 real quick, right? So we're going to read verses 14 through 28, and then we'll talk a little bit about the rapture. So it says, no, you're fine, because I was actually going to sprinkle a little bit of that in here anyway. It says, and there was given him, talking about the Messiah, a dominion, this is that kingdom, and glory, and a kingdom that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. So it will never be destroyed once this happens, right? Well, we got to keep reading. So again, this is Daniel 7, starting at verse 14. Now we're going to 15. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them that stood by, because he was looking at these angels, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me and made me know the interpretation of the things. These great beasts, which are four kings which shall arise out of the earth. Right? So the Most High, he likens every nation to a certain type of animal. Like our tribe, the southern tribe of Judah, right? We're known as the lion, right? That's our tribe. So, but for these particular beasts, these are nations that are controlling the earth, right? So then it says, verse, was it 18? But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and forever. So what does that mean? So
Take the kingdom,
what does that mean?
it's mine.
Huh?
Let me get what's mine.
Right. Because we know that the kingdom of heaven is without observation. We know that the kingdom of heaven is also within us. But this isn't talking about the spiritual connotation of that. So he's saying that the saints take the kingdom. Something is going to happen to where the saints are going to take this thing, right? Then it says, then I would know the truth of the fourth beast. So this fourth beast is crazy, which was diverse from all the others, exceedingly dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. So this is just the different nations, right? So the 10 horns are nations. And some of them are going to be taken down, and some of them aren't, right? And then it says, 21, I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints. So that's what's been going on this whole time, right? And prevailed against them. That's what's been going on, because we haven't known who we are. We haven't. And then it says, until the Ancient of Days came. So something towards the end. And judgment was given to who? Who does that say? It was given to the Messiah, or it was given to the people?
The saints of the Most High.
Okay, so just making sure we're reading this. Until the Ancient of Days came and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom.
Took charge.
Right. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth. This is this Babylonian or Roman Empire that we're still actually under, that people don't realize. That's why there's Olympics every 4 years, right? They're secretly running everything, right? Which shall be the first from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. So we know that America has been the military arm of it, right? And we know that, like over there in Europe and Britain and all those, that's like the financial arm. And the Roman Catholic Church would be the spiritual arm of this beast, right? And shall tread it down and break it in pieces. And the 10 horns of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall rise. And another shall arise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first. And he shall subdue 3 kings. And he shall speak great words against the Most High. That's what they do now. And yes, if you want to say Antichrist, yeah. But it's going to be like a nation or nations of people that are Antichrist. Because even Paul said that there are many Antichrists.
Yeah.
Right. And he said, and he shall speak great words against the Most High. That's what the Roman Catholic Church has done. And shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times in the dividing of time. So this is where people get the 3.5 year tribulation. Time, and dividing of times, right? I don't necessarily agree that that's a tribulation period. I believe that was used to relate to us the scatterings, the captivities at the time. It's deeper than that, but I'm not really going to get into that one. But then it says, but the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion. Who is the they? The saints of the Most High. So this is not a spiritual, this is not in the spirit, this is not something like, oh yeah, once we die, we're going to go to heaven. No, those of us that are alive and remain will take this kingdom to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominion shall serve and obey him. Right, the Messiah. Right. Perfect. Hereunto is the end of the matter, right? But that's why I read that from Jeremiah, because it's through us that this kingdom is going to be established. Excuse me. It's going to be through us. Eventually, we're going to take the kingdom, whether it's our grandchildren, whatever. That's why we got to make sure that we're in the right standing with the Most High, so we can be one of those people. Because some of us, again, will not be alive in that time, right? Some of us will be dead, so we got to make sure that our hearts is right and pure with the Most High. But some of our children or children's children will be. So we got to make sure that they know, like, you're not supposed to be taking this, because this is going to disqualify you from this kingdom, you know, or whatever the case may be. Don't follow what everyone else is trying to tell you. Make sure you're reading the book for yourself. You know, you can't always be going through different doctrines. So with this one, it's about Judah. Must go first. Were you going to say something?
No.
Okay. So we're going to go to Judges 1, right? Judges 1. Now, us as men, and being from the southern kingdom of Judah, it really revolves around us. Because, for instance, like this awakening that's happened, right? It didn't really take fire until we as men, or the Judites, or whatever you want to call us, woke up. Then, all of a sudden, President Trump and them signed H.R. 1242, recognizing the 400 years of slavery of us being over here, right? You see us everywhere. All the people trying to get back to the covenant, you know, just trying to make sure that we're right. But it's all revolving around us. That's what the world has been waiting for, right? So it says, now after the death of Joshua, it came to pass that the children of Israel asked YAHUAH, saying, who shall go up first against the Canaanites? Or who shall go up against the Canaanites first to fight against them? So we don't understand that our ancient enemy is still an enemy that we're fighting now. And it says, and YAHUAH said, Judah shall go up. Behold, I have delivered the land into his hand. And Judah said unto Simeon his brother, come up with me into my lot, that we may fight against the Canaanites. And I likewise will go with you into your lot. So Simeon went with him. Yes. Oh, so a lot of his inheritance. So each of the tribes have a certain lot of land over in the so-called land of Canaan, right? So he was like, well, we're going to go to my lot, and I'm going to take my heritage, my Nahala, and then send me, I'll go up into yours to help you secure yours. So just your land, basically.
Okay.
Right, your property. He says, and Judah went up, and Yahuwah delivered the Canaanites and the Perizzites into their hand, and they slew of them in Bezek 10,000 men. Judah went first, and then they destroyed 10,000 men, right? So it's really interesting because it wasn't until Joshua died. So what do y'all know about Joshua? Or Yahusha, or Jesus? That would have been his name, right? So, right. So he was the successor to Moses, right? He went into the promised land, right? So he goes in. They have the promised land. He dies, right? So again, like his name would be Jesus, is what they try to say, or Yahusha, or whichever variation you want to say. But I'm just put this up just to show you. Even in the New Testament, it's the same name. Same name. So he had to die, and then Judah went first. So we know the Messiah died, and then we got scattered across the earth, right? We haven't been over in Africa, most of us, for over 2,000 years. There's going to be things that's going to happen that's going to bring us back to this land. So now I'm going to stop right there, and we're going to talk about this rapture. So when it talks about times and dividing of times, when it talks about being caught up or changed in the twinkling of an eye, the rapture, because I even posted a video about it, I want to say like last year. So the rapture is really going to be an exodus for us. So in the video I think that I posted, it was this black pastor, Christian pastor, and he had been praying to the Most High, and then the Most High gave him like a dream or a vision. And in the dream or a vision, it was just like there was this great and mass exodus of black people leaving America. All of us going back to Africa. Now, there's been many other peoples having the same type of dreams, the same thing. So when you start thinking about movies like Left Behind, some of the scriptures that they've taken out actually tell you that those that are left are more blessed than those that are taken, because the context of taken actually means to die. So they've been having us waiting to be raptured out of something, which actually means to be raped or killed. So what we have to understand is we are the actual sign. Us waking up, that's a major sign. That's why there's about to be another, world war. And like with Left Behind, if you watch even most of those movies, most of the time you don't see hardly no black people there. They might show one. That's because we left. Like they were left behind because we left the countries. It wasn't because we just turned invisible and all the clothes was gone. Like that's mental gymnastics. No, we left and we went back to our homeland. It even talks about in Micah how the Most High is going to show us in the wilderness the same wonders as he did the first time, because he does everything in patterns. So he's never taken nations of people. Now, this whole Left Behind event is supposed to be all across the world. He's never done that before. He's never taken nations of people all across the world and just made them go invisible, and then all of a sudden they're in heaven. They don't have to go through a tribulation or any type of thing, and then they're back and they are living in the kingdom. That's not in the Bible. That's a doctrine that was made by some little girl that had a dream or something like that. Like it wasn't like none of the apostles, none of the prophets ever prophesied that. But there is talks about how we were scattered in captivities to the four corners of the earth, and then all of a sudden we'll fly on the wings of the Philistines, or airplanes coming back, or we're on the ships of Tarshish, which are the ships of Spain. The same way that we came here, we end up going back, and then we go to like the wilderness of Carmel and Bashan and all these places or whatever. And again, we'll have to go through that trying, right? Because those that take the kingdom are those that are called saints, and you got to go through something. Like Paul even says, what do he say? Work out your salvation with fear and trembling. So it's something that we're going to have to work at, because everybody, only 2 people that were 20 and up even made it into the kingdom, right? It was Joshua and Caleb. The rest of them, Moses included, did not walk into the kingdom. And Moses, the Most High, he talked to Moses face to face. He didn't talk to nobody like that. So it's an order, it's a pattern with the Most High, and we just got to make sure that we're discerning because they keep getting us to wait for a so-called rapture, and the word's not even in the Bible. Like it's literally not there. You can't find it. Like you can't find it at all. It's not there. It's a made-up doctrine. But to keep reading this, and it basically, because I don't want to keep going on this. Judah goes around and he starts beating all the Canaanites, like taking the kingdom, taking their inheritance, because they were already in the land, but Joshua died, so they didn't have a king. So we're going to be in the land, and we're not necessarily going to have a king, and then the Messiah is going to show up, and then he's going to show out, because the Most High, he does everything in patterns. Because I don't want to keep going over that, because that's all this chapter is. In Judges 1, especially the first 20 verses, is just everything Judah's doing. Judah goes first. Judah, it revolves around Judah. We are the kingly tribe. We are the priestly tribe, because some of us were taken for Levites as well, according to the sons of David, right? So I made a statement earlier talking about the so-called land of Canaan, because in the Bible, it's called the land of Canaan. Now, they've taken books out, right? They've taken information out. So we're going to go to the book of Jubilees, chapter 10. And Brandon, if you don't mind, can you read this? It's just 7 verses, verses 27 through 34. So I can get some water.
In the 4th week of the first year, 1688. Is that 1688?
Yep.
All right. AM? What's AM?
I don't remember what they classified that as. Go ahead.
In the beginning thereof, in the 4 and 13 Jubilee, were they dispersed from the land of Shinar.
Now, what do you remember about the land of Shinar? So the land of Shinar, we went over the lost book of King Og. Like he was an Amorite giant. The land of Shinar is synonymous with Babylon. You remember the Tower of Babel?
Yeah.
So the land of Shinar is synonymous with that.
Okay.
And that's also Mount Hermon, where the angels originally fell and started mating with the daughters of men to create all these giants and Nephilim back in the day, right? Okay.
And Ham and his sons went into the land which he was to occupy, which he acquired as his portion in the land of the south.
So who is Ham? Ham is the son of Noah, right? So Noah had, 3 sons? Shem, Ham, and Japheth, right? Okay, keep going.
And Canaan saw the land of Lebanon to the river of Egypt.
So who is Canaan? So Canaan is Noah's grandson or Ham's youngest son, right? That's who Canaan is. Canaan is Ham's youngest son. So now keep going.
That it was very, Lebanon to the river of Egypt, that it was very good. And he went not into the land of his Nahalah, of his inheritance,
Yeah, you got
to
that.
the west, that is to the sea. And he dwelt in the land of Lebanon, eastward and westward from the border of Jordan and from the border of the sea.
So Canaan
He
did
took
not
all
go,
of that.
right, so he went to a land that was not given. Like, remember when Judah was talking about his lot?
Yeah.
Canaan went to a whole nother, his cousin's lot. That was never his land. That's why when the Most High makes his covenant with Abraham, he's actually writing the ship, because that was the land of Shem. That was supposed to be always given to Abraham. So we got to stop calling this the land of Canaan. It was actually the land of Shem, or the land of Abraham, right?
And Ham, his father, and Cush, and Mizraim, his brothers, said unto him, Thou hast settled in a land which is not yours, which is not thine, which did not fall to us by lot. Do not do so, for if thou dost, if you do so, do it, and your sons will fall in the land, and be accursed through sedition.
Well, they're going to be cursed with like, I don't know how I would describe sedition, but in the context of Canaan, like there was a curse put on Canaan, even before this, that he will be a servant of servants. We'll just say that.
Okay. For by sedition you have settled, and by sedition your children will fall, and you will be rooted out forever.
All because he took something that wasn't his, right? Okay. Let's keep going.
Dwell not in the dwelling of Shem, for to Shem and to his sons did come by their lot. Cursed art thou, and cursed shalt thou be beyond all the sons of Noah, by the curse of which we bound ourselves by an oath in the presence of the holy judge, and in the presence of Noah our father. He did
And so he had already been cursed because of something that he did or his father did. He saw Noah's nakedness, Ham, but Ham had already been blessed by the Most High, so Noah couldn't curse him. So Noah cursed Canaan, and then now Canaan goes and steals a land that's not his. So that's a double cursing. And now we see that now Canaan is going to be cursed among worse among all the sons of Noah, right?
Mhm.
So, what do you know about the curse of Ham or the curse of Canaan?
Not much. And the reason why is because truth be told, I'm not on my word like I should be.
No, it's not even that. So what happened was, I'll say, so-called European Christianity came up with a whole doctrine about the curse of Ham, and they said that the curse of Ham was black skin, is what they said. So, but Ham wasn't the one that was cursed. It was Canaan, right? Canaan was allegedly cursed with black skin, right? So we're going to keep going. So I'm going to show you something. So this comes from the Talmud, right?
The what?
The Jewish Talmud.
Oh, okay.
So, because I had posted a video about it. So we've all inherited lies like the other nations have, and so have we. But this says, now remember I was talking about Shinar, Nimrod, Tarabal. It says, Noah brought his sons and his grandsons, and he blessed them with their several settlements, and he gave them Nahala, all the earth. He especially blessed Shem and his sons, making them dark. So dark. They translate it into English, but it should actually read black. They making them dark but comely. And he gave them the habitable earth. He blessed Ham and his sons, making them dark like the raven. And he gave them as an inheritance the coast of the sea. So we see Shem and Ham are both dark, right? But again, according to them, the curse of Canaan was black skin. We know now, well, we've known before that that's not true. The only curse you see in there is leprosy, which is not black skin. Then it says, he blessed Japheth and his sons, making them entirely white. So what a lot of people don't realize is Japheth, like when the Bible talks about the original Gentiles, they were the Japhites, the people that were the originals in Europe. I'll just say it like that, right? But they became white. I'll say it like that.
And this is after the flood.
Yeah.
Because basically, I'm just asking for
Clarification?
clarification.
Yeah.
Brain's kind of shut down. But for clarification, after the flood and after everything, basically, they were taken globally and given
Lots.
corners of the earth.
Mm-hmm. After the flood.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
Just curiosity. Okay, it says he blessed Japheth and his sons, making them entirely white.
Uh-huh.
He gave them the inheritance of the desert and his fields. Do you think he gave them the inheritance of the desert so that they could know what it felt like to be black? Because if you're in the desert,
I have-
I had that question.
I have no
That was
idea.
Literally in my head,
I mean, I'm just curious.
in the
you know.
desert.
I have some weird questions, okay?
No, that's fine. I honestly I don't know.
The other two, one was like a raven is black, and the other
Black,
was
black.
dark.
Mhm.
And then he made the last one white and put him in the desert. If you're in the desert, you're gonna turn colors,
Yeah.
you know?
So he would be the original Arab.
Yeah, but the original Arabs, like, so there's been a lot of cover up. So the original Arabs, and even like you got to take the Talmud even. You kind of got to chew up the meat and spit up the bones with any source that you get, especially when you have other information. So, like the original Arabs were actually dark skinned. So what I'm saying is, as we go through this recap, because we're about to start going through a recap, I'm gonna bring up some information about some so-called white people that a lot of people weren't really aware of. So recap, right? Well, I'm gonna try to do this as fast as possible. So Malachi 4, it's a short chapter, real quick. That's where we get this, turning the hearts of the fathers to the children and the hearts of the children to the fathers. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, all that do wickedly shall be stubble, and the day that cometh shall burn them up. saith Yahuwah of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. And we know that as men, we are the roots of our families, right? And then the offshoots are the branches. And this is like, in the Bible, it talks about the day of the Lord and, you know, all this other type of stuff. Like, this is that day that nobody can stand, because we know that the Most High said that he wouldn't destroy the earth again with water. That's what the rainbow is supposed to represent. It's supposed to be with fire next time, and that's what this is talking about. And then it says, but unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings. So when all this calamity is coming or whatever, for us, we're going to be healed, right? We're going to be restored. And you shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stall. And you shall tread down the wicked. That sounds like Daniel 7. For they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet in the day that I shall do this, saith Yahuwah of hosts.
Sounds a lot like Psalms 23.
You already know. You already know. And this is key. So this is going to be key for us to be able to discern the times it's happening. It says, remember you the law of Moses, the servant, my servant, which I commanded unto him in Horeb for all Israel, with the statutes and judgments. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. And so we know in the New Testament that the Messiah said that John the Baptist was Elijah, right? But everything was not fulfilled in that time. So we know that there's going to be a spirit of Elijah that comes in the future. And we have to, by remembering the law of Moses, the law of Moses, we'll be able to discern who has this spirit on them, right? So we can be saved, right? And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse, right? Did you have a question, Brandon?
No.
So what is an algorithm?
Good question. I don't know. It's a pattern of what I imagine it is.
Just read this next slide.
Procedure for solving a mathematical problem as finding the greatest common divisor. An infinite number of steps that frequently involve repetition of an operation. That's step-by-step procedure for solving a problem or accomplishing something.
So basically, to make it shorter, the Bible, what people call the Bible, or the collection of scriptures, like that is supposed to be our algorithm, that it lets us know. So when I say that, everything's an algorithm, right? Especially when it comes to the Most High, because he does everything the same, like there's nothing new under the sun. So that's why at Mount Horeb, Moshe was like, choose this day who you will serve. Blessings or curses, right? Blessings are an algorithm. Curses are an algorithm. Disease is an algorithm. Healing is an algorithm. Destruction is an algorithm. Salvation is also an algorithm. We just have to do the things that are pleasing to the Most High. We have to repent daily, because that's a main issue. We have got to repent. We got to start dying to ourselves. We got to ask the Most High what he wants us to do, instead of always just doing the things that we want to do, right? Because in this generation, that's what they kind of teach you. So there was one thing about algorithm that I saw. So it said algorithm is often paired with words specifying the activity for which a set of rules have been designed. Just like there was blessings and curses, right? Between us and the Most High. It says a search algorithm, for example, is a procedure that determines what kind of information is retrieved from a large mass of data. An encryption algorithm is a set of rules by which information or messages are encoded that unauthorized persons cannot read them. So this encryption algorithm is what has become a stumbling block to most of the people that read the Bible, because they don't read line upon line, precept upon precept, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. They don't do that. They just read it and think that, or you listen to a pastor read it, that we run scripture and then the rest of it's just them talking. Like, no, you have to make sure that you are on a solid foundation. You got to have other witnesses to these things, right?
Like that one you just in, and I said it sounded like Psalms 23.
Yep.
And then over there was line upon line.
Yep, exactly. So the Most High has set it up to where he has an encryption algorithm for us to receive this salvation. And it's going to be a strange salvation, because a lot of people don't understand that we are the actual sign. It's us, right? Again, when whatever event's going to happen and you just see a great mass exodus, probably time for us all to try to find a way up out of this joint, because I'm telling you, this place is going to be destroyed by nuclear fire. They got all kinds of sleeper cells set up between Arabs and Chinese people just waiting to be awakened. They're just waiting right now.
And the United States is part of
They
it.
used to have,
Yeah.
they used to have a sleeper cell, it was, when they were talking about terrorists.
Yep.
They had a sleeper cell, kid you not, Sixth Street Hill.
Yep. I heard about that.
There was one on Sixth Street Hill, there was one,
Really?
yes, there was one on Sixth Street Hill.
Sleeper cell?
They knew about it, they didn't think about it. You know what happened? They watched it, watched it.
They were just watching them?
They watched the president fly planes.
Yeah, because they don't want people to know all of that stuff. Okay. Make sure we got time. Try to get time here. So salvation was found in Luke 1. This is just a recap, right? I'm going to jump down to verse 15. For he shall be great in the sight of Yahuwah, and shall drink neither wine nor strong drink. This is talking about John the Baptist, right? And he shall be filled with the Holy Ghost even from his mother's womb. And many of the children of Israel shall he turn to Yahuwah, their God, and he shall go before him in the spirit and power of Elijah, to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and disobedient to the wisdom of the just, to make ready a people prepared for Yahuwah. So it's going to be like in that day and at that time, in this day and at that time, we got to make sure that our hearts are turned towards our children and towards our women folk, because we got to make sure that our houses are in order, because the Most High, that's why I talked about a remnant, right? Because only a remnant is going to be trying to get their families where they're supposed to be, and that falls on us. We can't blame women for that. Like, that's one thing that we've been harping on. And then jumping down to, go ahead.
It makes a lot of sense.
What does?
Why, okay, what's that letter? No, the letter, what's his name? The slaver.
Slave. Oh, Willie Lynch.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Willie Lynch letter. When he said, take the man out of the house, he said, I don't do this for the slaves of now. I do this for their children, their grandchildren, for future decade or future generations.
Yep.
I'm paraphrasing. Taking the man out of the house, basically he said, that taking the man away from his family forces the woman to rely on the slave master, and forces the man to basically beat the woman because she won't rely on him.
Right.
But the Most High said it's on us to make sure our families are where they need to be.
Yep.
So why wouldn't they strip us from
Because, and even like this goes all the way back to the beginning. Because when Eve ate of that fruit, where was Adam?
Man, good
we weren't there. We won't let the women just go and do whatever. And no, like we were put over them for a reason. You know, it doesn't mean that you rule over them with rigor, huh?
Adam not to eat that fruit.
Yeah,
She talked him into eating it.
yeah. And he knew better, because the Most High is the one that told him not to eat it. He knew better than that.
The better part, and it goes into the lesson I was last here for. He didn't talk to Eve, he talked to Adam.
Yeah.
It's crazy because
He gave Adam,
From the
he told
beginning.
Adam not to eat from the fruit of the tree of knowledge.
Mhm.
He told Eve, and Eve told him he can eat it.
Mhm.
He go, honey.
Because what happened? Eve started listening to that serpent-tongued slave master. Well, Master said we can do that. Yeah. Master said, no, we all need to come up here and take this or get this. And like, there's a lot of stuff. So like now they're talking about giving everybody like $2,000 a month, but there's more. Biden signed this bill to where he's trying to get more vaccines made for all that's supposedly are actually going to be effective. And I'm like, how many times are we going to have to keep doing the same thing? Because, you know, you got to keep taking all the boosters and boosters and boosters. Like,
Oh, the shot.
Yeah, the thing.
The shot that you took last summer, thank you for taking it. Doesn't matter. It's not going to save you from this variant. There's a new shot out now.
right.
Cool.
Yeah, no, there's like, I was over at Elder Bernie's and he was bringing out how there's like 3 new variants out right now. I don't know how,
And they say insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result.
right?
That's kind of like the COVID. I mean, I took the COVID vaccine.
Uh-huh.
Number one, I'm high risk for anything out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I took the COVID vaccine.
Mhm.
But I
What?
He's never,
Wow.
never. Brandon, my husband, my twin sister, and two of my granddaughters had it at the same time. I was the only one that's named. I never had it.
Wow, I've had it a
And
few
I've been
different times.
tested about 7 times because I came into contact with somebody that came into contact with somebody else.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be around other people. You know.
Thanks.
And that may have been a reason to stay home too. You
Yeah,
know?
hey.
Being all honest, but yeah, I've never had COVID. Never.
Wow.
And recently, four of my close friends have been in the hospital with COVID. Two of them were in the hospital. She got out of the hospital, she was in 3 days. She got out. Her husband went that same night. He was in 3 days.
Wow.
And then my ex-husband and his girlfriend had it. You know, so I'm blessed. I've
Hey,
never had
yeah,
COVID.
that's a good thing. Let's keep that going. Yeah, I've had it a few different times.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. And he said, "Blessed be Yahuwah, the God of Israel, for he hath visited and redeemed his people." So this again goes back to Daniel 7. "And have raised up an horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David. And as he spake by the mouth of his prophets, which have been since the world began, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us, to perform the mercy promised to our fathers, and to redeem his to remember his holy covenant, the oath which he sware to our father Abraham, that he would grant us that we, being delivered out of the hand of our enemies, might serve him without fear." So even in the New Testament, that's what they were still waiting on. "In holiness and righteousness before him all the days of our life. And you, child, shall be called the prophet of the highest, for you shall go before the face of Yahuwah to prepare his ways, to give knowledge of salvation unto his people by the remission of their sins." So you got to be repenting. You got to be getting it right. You can't just keep, repenting and then don't even try to get it right, "Through the tender mercy of our God, whereby the dayspring from on high hath visited us, to give light to them that sit in darkness and in the shadow of death, to guide our feet into the way of peace." Right? So that's what they were waiting for, even in the New Testament. A second witness was in Acts 1. I'm going to jump down to verses 5 through 8. "For John truly baptized with water." That's the one that came in the spirit and power of Elijah. "But you shall be baptized with the Holy Ghost not many days hence. When they therefore come together, they ask him." So this is what the apostles, the disciples of Jesus, asked him after he had been crucified and was risen again, right? So this is what I asked him. They said, "Master, will you at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel?" So even after the death, burial, and resurrection of the Messiah, they were still waiting on the dominion prophesied in Daniel 7, right? Just wanted y'all to see that. So Genesis 15, right? All of this goes back to the covenant of Abraham, right? He got circumcised in his flesh, and then he made sure that his son was circumcised on the 8th day, right? And then the Most High made a covenant with him. So I'm going to jump down to verse 12. It says, "And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and lo, an horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, Know of a surety that your seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. And you shall go to your fathers in peace, and thou shalt be buried in a good old age," right? So there was something about 400 years of bondage now. 400 years. So, Trump signed that HR or HJR 1242 commemorating our 400 years in America, right? Of slavery and bondage and all this and that. So again, everything that happens again. It's like this cycle that we're in. But then verse 16 it says, "But in the fourth generation they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full." What do you know about the Amorites? Okay. And so again, he made this covenant with Abraham. So we're talking about the iniquity of the Amorites. So the Amorites, right? The word goes back to a sayer. So there are these people that talk a lot and they say some sweet nothings, right? It also goes back to a Westerner. That's another description of the definition of Amorite. So a Westerner or coming from the West, and they're a sayer. This is like a picture of what an Amorite looked like from their architecture, right? So again, it says that they come from the west of Jordan. The west of Jordan. And now it also means a mountain dweller. So they come from the west, they're mountain dwellers, and they talk a real smooth game, right? And we know that Joshua, the southern tribe of Judah went against all these Amorites. So did Moses, so did Joshua also, right? Now, the thing about these Amorites is there's two sets of Amorites in history. And so we don't really know truly where their origin came from. Some of them came between 25 and 2200 BC. Some came around 2000 BC. Now, they're in ancient Near Eastern history. There's this thing called the Old Amorite period. It was from 2000 to 1600 BC. How many years is that? 2000 minus 1600. 400. So there was a 400-year period that the Amorites, it's called the Old Amorite period, and like they controlled everything. They also, of course, they had like a dynasties that they had set up. They also helped to create the original Babylon. They had their hands all in that. But again, there's two sets though, and they came in at two different times. And so what we're about to read about their characteristics and what they actually look like. So now this is in Africa, right? In Africa, let me get to it. So it says the Amorite. It says the Amorites were Semitic people who seem to have emerged from Western Mesopotamia or Syria or Arabia. Let me say that again. I'm going to skip down. So the god Amaru's association with the mountains and his wife with the desert suggests that they have originated in the area of Syria and Mount Hermon. That's what I was talking about earlier. But this is unsubstantiated. Again, they had they were controlling and had a part in Babylon, ancient Babylon, and in all of the rulers. So at one point in time, all history came through the Amorites. But again, we don't really know their true origin, even though they're written of in the Bible. So now, when I'm talking about like us teaching this history, so I'm going to describe to you, I'm going to read to you how the Egyptians describe what they look like. Now, this is in Africa. It says the Amorites may come of European origin. Doesn't make sense. Though no one is sure what was their ethnic origin, they were represented on the Egyptian monuments with fair skins, light hair, blue eyes, curved or hooked noses, and pointed beards. So what does that make you think? What kind of description or image does that pop into your mind? Yeah. Fair skin, light hair, blue eyes. Huh? Pilgrim, right? Right? So then, like, there's more. So there were also, like, mountainers, like, and they were the fiercest of all the tribes. Even in the Bible, it talks about how, well, not even in the Bible. So throughout history, the giants were known as Rephaim, right? There were these descendants of the fallen angels in womankind. And the term Amorite actually became synonymous as the giants, because they were just tall, huge, and they were the fiercest and most warlike people of the time. And again, like, they completely controlled, like, they came into the Mesopotamia and Africa, and they ended up, like, a little bit, they would completely, like, lose their heritage where they came from, and they would completely assimilate to this new one, and you wouldn't be able to tell what's going on because they would know how to do everything. They're chameleons. And so, again, like, blonde hair, blue eyes, fair skins is how they describe them. Something like this guy, right? And just to give you some more sources on it. So the Amorites do indeed remain a mystery, but biblical anthropology provides some insights that should be considered. Given that archaic languages in the Afro-Asiatic family share common consonant roots with different vowels, it is likely that Amorite is an anglicized form of Amaru. It's kind of close to America because there was a lot of those people that we just described here that were giants. Now it says, the peoples of Amor were related to and under the governance of the Nile rulers. Some lived in Egypt and are represented in ancient monuments as having fair skin, light hair, blue eyes, aquiline noses, pointed beards. Henry George Tompkins says, a member of the Royal Institute wrote that the Amorites were blue-eyed and fair-haired. Same thing.
You know, when you first started reading in the scripture, I don't know why my mind went to Hitler, because that's what he wanted the perfect race to look like. I don't know why, for some reason, that was the first thing that hit my mind was Hitler.
So, have y'all ever heard of like the black Caucasians? Because like the original Caucasians were black skin. So that's what I'm saying. That's why it's called.
I heard that
That's that's why it's called history, his story. So again, even from what we read from the book of Jubilees, Canaan went and just took this land, acting like it's his, knowing that it's not theirs. What we haven't been understanding is we've been dealing with Canaanites this whole time. Still, it's the same thing, huh?
Sounds like the Spanish or
Mhm.
Turkish.
But
You ever look at a picture of Black Tevish? Black Tevish, black, being pale.
Oh,
Black
Yeah.
Tevish, he is, by definition, minus the blue eyes and blonde hair, everything that's described in that description.
I don't think he had brown eyes.
Yeah, he can have blonde hair, blue eyes.
Yeah.
But other than that, fair skin, pointy nose, villain's chin, all that.
So look, but check this out. So the Egyptologist Flinders Petrie and Assyriologist Archibald Sauce believe that the Amorites were white with blue eyes, fair hair. According to Sauce, the Hittites, the Amorites were a tall, handsome people with white skins, blue eyes, and reddish hair. All the characteristics, in fact, of the white race. Yeah, hook nose, yeah, ankle and nose, hook nose. But that's what I'm trying to say. Like, we've all inherited lies. Because the Talmud said that Japheth was completely white, and that's not even historically accurate. Like, the original Greeks and Romaim, they were dark skinned. Something happened. Some people assimilated. And the next thing you know, we're watching, what is that movie with, what was that movie with Brad Pitt when he was Achilles? What was that movie?
Troy.
Troy. We're watching Troy, and we're believing that he was Achilles. When even historically, matter of fact, this
They
is
made you think that in the movie.
right. But historically, like the Greeks, how they would do their sculptures, if you were painted as black, that means that you are a man. Like literally is what like that defined masculinity. So with them, like that's why they got to keep putting these images in our minds to keep us confused and just think that, you know, nothing great can come of us, right? So there's that, and then we know that Esau and the Edomites, right? The Edomites would be the antagonists of the story. They're the villains of the prophecies in the Bible, right? Now, Horites are cave dwellers. So we know that there's also caves and mountains, right? And just a real quick source on the Horites. So there are specific groups of like white people. Now, all this is in like the Middle East or Africa, like not in Europe, what I'm talking about, right? It says Horim devoted the inhabitants of Mount Seir before its occupation by the Edomites. Seir is accordingly called Horite. If I jump down, it says the Horites in Mount Seir were among the nations defeated by the army of Chedorlaomer in the age of Abraham. The Hebrew Horite, however, is the car of the Egyptian inscriptions, a name given to the whole southern Palestine. So the Horites were also in Palestine too, a land that they didn't belong in. And Edom as well, as to the adjacent sea. In accordance with this, we find in the Old Testament also traces in the existence of the Horites in other parts of the country. Right? Now, it says that more correctly, the Horite, reads Horite instead of Hivite, yada, yada, yada. It says Hor or Horite has sometimes been explained to mean cave dweller. It is more probably, however, denotes the white race. Because you've heard of Neanderthals, right? Well, the Bible called them Horites.
And we're kissed by the sun, then we're not.
Right. And so it's really crazy because the Horites, they literally try to say that they're from Shem, but they're not. Like, even if you go through the genealogies, they're not from Shem. Just like the Canaanites. When we were talking about the Amorites, right? According to some of their histories, they claim that they come back to Shem, and that's a whole lie. They come from Well, we're going to read where they allegedly come from. Because remember, there's two sets of them, and that's why it doesn't make sense, because they came out of nowhere, and then once they came, they would assimilate into whatever culture they were in, and then they would dominate and take control. And remember, the old Amorite period was from 2000 BC to 1600 BC, 400 years. That goes back to the dream of Abraham, right? When the Most High said that, "Know of a surety that your seed will be a stranger in a strange land, and they will be afflicted 400 years." Because that's what I'm trying to show you, the pattern that happens. So we're going through this stuff again, and we're dealing with these so-called Europeans. Because like I'm telling you, we're dealing with Canaanites also. We're still dealing with Amorites. They follow us because they have a hatred for us. Because remember, they got double cursed. That second part from taking the land said that they were going to be cursed among all people, right?
So,
Go ahead.
in essence, and I wonder, if, quote, secret society, with air quotes,
Yep.
if they are still, like, mad about, something from way back then, and they're like,
Yeah.
you know what, we still need to get that, we still need to da.
Well, the longer they keep us in the dark to knowing who we are and cleaving back to the covenant, the longer they stay in power. Because remember, they're supposed to be a servant of servants. They're supposed to be the lowest of the low. And right now, them and the Edomites and some Japhites are ruling over everybody. And that's not how it's supposed to be. The tail has become the head. Everything's flipped upside down. Like, they got to keep, like, that's why they believe in order out of chaos. They have to keep us in a constant state of fear, chaos, worry, doubt. We hate our own people. They make us want to love them and want to hate us, and we got to stop doing that. But according to this, the Amorites are allegedly descendants from Canaan. But again, some of them claim that they come from Shem, which is it's a whole lie. Even like the Hittites. So this is another group of Canaanites, the Hittites. Strabo, he called them white Syrians. So that all of a sudden there's all these so-called white people that they ended up just coming, right? This is a picture right here of a Hittite. It's a drawing or of a depiction of them, right? So I'm just trying to show y'all that this history, it ain't what they trying to make it. That's why it's going to be a strange salvation. That's why we got to pay attention to when it's time for us to go. We can't just be stuck here like, I'm not going anywhere. No, because when it's time to go, we don't want to be here. Because this is what they're going to say. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him and made no account of his labors. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they look for. Because it's going to be strange. Yeah, because what do you think people are going to do once they really understand that we are the people that they've been doing this to? They're in denial.
It comes in different, take for example, when I tell people I don't celebrate Christmas, it bothers their fragility, and these are usually pilgrims,
Mm-hmm.
and of course
them celebrate.
Facts. You're good. You're good.
Have you read the description of what God looks like in the Bible?
Mm-hmm.
My mom said, she said all these rich white folks get to heaven, they gonna make a U-turn because they gonna find out God got woolly hair.
They gonna have to, and it's not even like a racial thing. It's just a truth thing. Like, you just be like, look, according to what the Bible says, if we're gonna live by this, you gotta die by it. Like, that's just
You can't just take and pick and choose what you want to believe.
exactly.
So, what I was trying to say, it's like, it sounds a lot like, as soon as one of us speak out and say something, even the most minute thing, their fragility pops up. They can't. You show a picture of what Christ may have actually looked like, and there's no way. And then they get mad, and then they're Karen things, or Kyle, because of who you're talking to. And then, once that happens, once they get past all of their fragility,
Mhm.
they take flight.
Uh-huh.
Well, people have false beliefs.
right. Even if you're showing them proof and evidence, it's never good enough.
No, it's not, and it's never gonna be good enough, because they have this image of what they believe is what they believe.
Right?
If that
Right.
makes sense.
And like, even if you come with them, to them with love and compassion, like, hey, I just came into this information. You do some research to make sure I'm not just making this stuff up.
Yeah.
And they're not even willing to do that. But truth is supposed to be truth, because even like us being awakened to this stuff, like a lot, it's just unlearning stuff. Because their history, that's why we got to start saying our story, like, or our story, because history is a whole lie.
My pastor asked me a question after him and Brandon had a discussion. And he said, have you ever been to, that place Brandon goes to? And I said, yeah. He said, so what do they believe? I said, the same thing you believe, just more dead. Really? He said, oh, okay. I said, you really should think about going one day. I said, it's on Saturday usually. And you should think about going. I couldn't believe he asked me that, you know. I
Really?
think he thought I was gonna say, no, I've never been there, but I have,
Yeah.
you know, one time.
Mhm.
And I said, they believe the same thing we believe, just more in depth, you know? Are you saying that? Oh, my bad.
Wow, that's good.
And that's how I see it anyway,
Uh-huh.
you know, from
Those,
sitting here.
it's ironic, going back to verse upon verse, line upon line, here goes very little. The two witnesses, two, three witnesses. I had literally said the words, those verbatim, what my mom told me. And me and my mom hadn't spoken to each other.
Wow.
So,
No shame, no shame.
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's, when I was looking at you, where I was looking at you just now, I'm pretty sure the camera can't see it, but I was looking at you like that, because it was literally what he called me on the phone, and he started asking me questions, and then he, fragility, when I say Shabbat, I don't know what Shabbat is, I said, well, it's the same thing, just more in depth. And I suppressed a lot and spoke with conviction.
I think it's a little harsh.
Yeah, he can. He can be. Yeah. That's an
I
ex-military.
spoke with conviction, and he's a devil dog, he's a Marine, so, one would think, yeah, I could, but, what you change,
Yeah.
it's,
It appears harsh. Yeah.
yeah.
We had a heated discussion the
Mm.
other day. I told him I was gonna tell you too. And
What
he said, you know, I take the kids on to church with me on Wednesdays, so
Mhm.
they sing every Sunday. And it's his love
Yeah.
to sing.
It's live. Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah. Don't tell me that story later. Yeah. Where you going with that? Yeah. Tell me that later.
Okay, it wasn't anything bad.
Oh, well, he said edit it out, so I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, we're live. We're live. Oh, no. We don't do that here. No. But, okay. Jeremiah 16, I'm going to jump down to verse 14. Therefore the days come, saith Yahuwah, that it shall no more be said, Yahuwah liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. Now we know, every time around what they like to call Easter, which is really Passover, 10 Commandments come on and people still marveling on that. But once this strange salvation, these calamities happen, we're not going to be talking about that no more. It says, but Yahuwah liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north. And we live in where? North America. Right? And from all the lands whither he had driven them. And I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers. Right? Keeping going. This is what they're going to say, jumping down to verse 19. O Yahuwah, my strength and my fortress, and my refuge in the day of affliction. The Gentiles shall come unto you from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit. That's what's going to happen. And jumping down to verse 21, he says, therefore, behold, I will this once, this is what the Most High said, cause them to know I will cause them to know mine hand and my might, and they shall know that my name is Yahuwah. So in that day, there ain't gonna be none of that. He gonna they gonna know like, oh
This
man,
is the same,
huh?
the same God that sucked a couple
Yep.
nations into a honest one.
Yep.
I can't get past
Yeah,
that.
you still can't get, that was wild. Yeah, because they was wild though. That was wild because they was wild. So he had to be wild. Okay. Gotcha. Thank y'all. Yeah. Okay.
Seeing you again.
Good seeing you too. I'm glad that you're doing a whole lot better.
I am, but
No buts. Nope.
No buts,
No,
okay.
no buts.
yeah, I'm blessed and highly favored.
There you go. Yeah, that's what we want to hear. Thank y'all.
We'll just saying it comes, but it'll be now.
That's life. That is life.
Hadn't branded for a second.
All right.
But I'm just playing.
Oh, it's good. It's good.
Tell the wife I said, well, I'm still gonna get y'all a gift.
Okay. We'll do.
I just need to know what you need,
Okay. I'll ask her.
and then let him know and he let me know.
Okay. That'll work. All right. Shalom.
I am taking that.
Okay, so then we go to Isaiah 34, right? It says, come near, you nations, to hear, and hearken, you people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world, all things that come forth of it. And for the indignation of Yahuwah is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter, because that's what's coming, a great slaughter. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stings shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. And all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll. That's that nuclear fire. And all their hosts shall fall down as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment. So remember, he said that the spirit of Elijah was going to come and things were going to change unless he smited the earth with a curse. Well, that's truly what happened. We got smitten with a curse. The sword of Yahuwah is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For Yahuwah hath a sacrifice in Basra, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. That's what's coming. And the unicorn shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. For it is the day of Yahuwah's vengeance, and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion. So this whole time, there's been a controversy in Zion, and people haven't even really realized it. There's a reason why Idumea, Edom, is going to get it so bad. People try to say that all of them died off. That's a lie. That's a flat out lie. That's why the Jewish Encyclopedia says something to the contrary. It says, and the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall come burning pitch. Right? So again, this is just, we're still on a recap. So it says the 1925 edition of the Jewish Encyclopedia, volume 5, page 41. Edom is modern jewelry. Edom is modern jewelry. We'll just keep going. Now, this is a depiction. You see the dark skin. The black skinned people here are the Nubians. And then the red skinned people are Idumeans, right? Or Edomites. That's what they originally looked like. But remember, they mixed in with who? The Horites, the Hivites, the Hittites, the Amorites. They've all mixed in together. Mixed in with different sects of so-called Canaanites, because all of them weren't Canaanites. All of them were not Canaanites. So just moving forward, I was just looking for pictures of Edomites, and then this is what kept popping up. All of this. So now we get into the heart of today, the book of Jasher 37. Jasher 37. So basically, from where we left off last time, again, Shechem, Hamor, his father, Shechem, he rapes Dinah boldly. Jacob sends servants over there to try to get Dinah. He didn't bring him back, and he starts kissing her in front of him, and he's really kind of boastful. Jacob knows that his daughter was taken and humbled and raped and whatnot. Then Hamor comes and tries to get Jacob to agree to allow his son to marry her. The Israelites tricked them into doing it, and Levi and Simeon end up killing over 645 men by themselves, right, after the circumcision. Because again, the so-called Amorites, so-called Canaanites, were planning to come against the Israelites shortly after Dinah was actually given in marriage, right? So now, some other things that ends up happening. One of Jacob's, I believe Jacob's wives end up dying. His mother ends up dying. So this is kind of like a tumultuous time. And Jacob, he's worried that these other Canaanites are going to come and try to destroy them. But remember that Jacob and Isaac prayed to the Most High that the fear and terror of Yahuwah will be on them. And so even though 10,000 came against them, they all fled at that time. They did not try to fight them, right? So as we continue now we go to Jasher 37. Jasher 37. And in the 105th year of the life of Jacob, that is the 9th year of Jacob's dwelling with his children in the land of Canaan, he came from Padan Aram. And in those days, Jacob journeyed with his children from Hebron, and they went and returned to the city of Shechem. So after they destroyed this city of Shechem, they come back, right? They and all belonging to them, and they dwelt there. Now remember, Jacob, he had bought land from Hamor, his father. It was Jacob or Isaac that bought land from his father, Hamor, and that was the land that they're going back to now, right? And they dwelt there, for the children of Jacob obtained good and fat pasture land for their cattle in the city of Shechem. The city of Shechem having then been rebuilt, and there were in it about 300 men and women. And Jacob and his children and all belonging to him dwelt in the part of the field which Jacob had bought from Hamor, the father of Shechem. When he came from Padan Aram, before Simeon and Levi had smitten the city, and all those kings of the Canaanites and Amorites. Now you notice there's a distinction between Canaanites and Amorites. If all of them are one people, why do you have to, divide them, right? Because if all of these are just kings of Canaanites, because according to the Bible, there is a set of Amorites that come from Canaan. So what's the significance in separating them? So I start seeing stuff like this, I know, because that first set, again, that came about 2500 BC, they have an unknown origin. They just pop up out of nowhere. And all those kings of the Canaanites and Amorites that surrounded the city of Shechem heard that the sons of Jacob had again come to Shechem and dwelt there. So this is the second time. So what you think they're going to try? What you think they're going to do? Because we got to remember, like in that day, or in that time, Judah's got to go first. Because I'm not saying that when the calamities hit, the word's going to have to be going out and try to murder people and all this and that. No. I'm talking about taking the kingdom, the saints possessing the kingdom. When that happens, men are going to have to be men. We're going to have to do what we have to do. And they said, shall the sons of Jacob, the Hebrew, again come to the city and dwell therein? After that, they have smitten its inhabitants and driven them out. Shall they now return and also drive out those who are dwelling in the city or slay them? So they're posing this question. Are we going to let them do this again? They're going to do the same thing. And all the kings of Canaan assembled. And they came together to make war with Jacob and his sons. And Jashub, king of Tapnach, sent also to all his neighboring kings, to Elon, king of Gaash, and to Ehuri, king of Shiloh, and to Parathon, king of Chazar, and to Sushi, king of Sartan, and to Laban, king of Beth Horon, and to Shabir, king of Ophnai, saying, come up to me and assist me, and let us smite Jacob the Hebrew and his sons, and all belonging to him, for they are again come to Shechem to possess it and to slay its inhabitants as before. Now, we know that that's not the case. They were just dwelling there because they owned that land. They didn't come to fight nobody at that time. They were just chilling, right? And remember that even if these are so-called Canaanites, that land is not the land of Canaan. That would be the land of Shem, or the land of Abraham, right? That's a lot of his inheritance. And all these kings assembled together and came with all their camps, a people exceedingly plentiful, like the sand upon the seashore. And they were all opposite to Tapnach. And Jashub, king of Tapnach, went forth to them with all his army. And he encamped with them opposite to Tapnach without the city. And all these kings they divided into 7 divisions, being 7 camps against the sons of Jacob. Right? 7 means completion. And they sent a declaration to Jacob and his sons. So they bold with it this time. I guess that fear and terror of Yahuwah is no longer on them, right? Saying, come you all forth to us, that we may have an interview together in the plain. Like, wait, an interview? I'm not looking for no job. So they want to have an interview. So like they just like, hey, yeah, you come up here. Yeah, come up here if you want to. And revenge the cause of the men of Shechem, whom you slew in their city. And you will now again return to the city of Shechem and dwell therein, and slay its inhabitants as before. And the sons of Jacob heard this, and their anger was kindled exceedingly at the words of the kings of Canaan. So they were men. And 10 of the sons of Jacob hastened and rose up, and each of them girt on his weapons of war. And there were 102 of their servants with them, equipped in battle array. So that's 122. With 122 men against an innumerable army. All right? Verse 13. And all these men, the sons of Jacob, with their servants, went toward these kings. And Jacob their father was with them. And they all stood upon the heap of Shechem. And Jacob prayed to Yahuwah for his sons. So again, this is about the hearts of the fathers turning to the children. So Jacob did not want to see his sons die. So Jacob understood that in order for his 10 sons and 122 total people to win this war, that they have to get the Most High involved. They have to call out on the name of the Most High, because it's all in his power. So they took the power. So Jacob took the power out of their hands and gave it to the Most High, so he could deliver them. Because when you are in covenant with the Most High, there's one thing he's going to do. He's going to guard his word. And he spread forth his hands to Yahuwah. And he said, O Eloah, you are my God. You are our Father. You did form us, and we are the works of your hands. I pray that you deliver my sons through your mercy from the hand of their enemies, who are this day coming to fight with them, and save them from their hand. For in your hand is power and might, to save the few from the many. Again, this is like the type, this is the way, this is the order that the Most High works in. And in order for us to be saved and to be able to take this kingdom, we're going to have to call out and pray for our children as fathers. Because we may not be in that time just yet, but it could be our children or our grandchildren's time. So our prayers now need to be abounding. We need to be building that thing up. We need to be praying for hedges of protection over our families. That's what our plight is, being the roots of our families. That's our responsibility. It's not on, like, we got to stop depending on Big Mama, because that's what a lot of us have done. Us as men, our prayers work because it's a man's covenant. I cannot express that enough. It is so important for us men to be in our children and in our families' lives. It's vital. That's why, this government and other governments have fought so hard to get us out. Fought so hard to have women want to try to be men. Completely effeminize our men, because they don't want us to have authority. They don't want us to have the kingdom. They don't want us to have that dominion that's coming. And they know that we are the Most High's battle axes and weapons of war. And give unto my sons, your servants, strength of heart and might to fight with their enemies, to subdue them and make their enemies fall before them. Sounds like Psalms 23. And let not my sons and their servants die through the hands of the children of Canaan. So we've always fought against Canaanites, or so-called Canaanites. But if it seemeth good in your eyes to take away the lives of my sons and their servants, take them in your great mercy through the hands of your minister, that they may not perish this day by the hands of the kings of the Amorites. So it's not even the kings of the Canaanites no more. Now it's the king of the Amorites. Because again, they mixed in, they assimilated. Some of them may have been children of Canaan, but some of them weren't. There's no way. Verse 17. And when Jacob ceased praying to Yahuwah, the earth shook from its place, and the sun darkened. And all these kings were terrified, and a great consternation seized them. The prayer of the righteous, the prayer of faith, the prayer of righteousness will cause the fear and terror of Yahuwah to be upon you. Because again, Judah, you are the sign, right? When our prayers go to heaven, things change. They know what's coming, right? Literally from this prayer, the sun darkened, an earthquake happened from prayer. When they say prayer changes, that's really what it does. There's power in your prayer. Don't forget that. There's power in your your prayer. And Yahuwah hearkened to the prayer of Jacob, the man. And Yahuwah impressed the hearts of all the kings and their hosts with the terror and the awe of the sons of Jacob, the fear and terror of Yahuwah. For Yahuwah caused them to hear the voice of chariots, and the voice of mighty horses from the sons of Jacob, and the voice of a great army accompanying them. So then he made them hallucinate, hear stuff, fear, because that's what the power of fear can do. The Most High puts that fear upon your enemies, and that's why no one can stand against you if the Most High is for you. And all these kings were seized with great terror at the sons of Jacob. And while they were standing in their quarters, behold, the sons of Jacob advanced. Now, there's only 10 of them upon them with 112 men. So it's only 112. With a great and tremendous shouting, because they know the power of pay, using the words from their mouth, right? Pay action. And when the kings saw the sons of Jacob advancing toward them, they were still more panic struck. And they were inclined to retreat from before the sons of Jacob as at first, and not to fight with them. But they did not retreat, saying, it will be a disgrace to us thus twice to retreat from before the Hebrews. But remember, the fear and the terror of Yahuwah was already upon them. The prayer was sent forth. So we still be forgetting at times that our prayer is our weapon. Just like we are the Most High's weapons, battle axes and weapons of war, our prayer in the spirit realm is that weapon or battle axe. You got to use that thing, and you got to have faith. You got to be working out your faith. You got to. And the sons of Jacob came near and advanced against all these kings and their armies. And they saw, and behold, it was a very mighty people, numerous as the sand of the sea. So it was a bang of them. They was rolling deep, right? And the sons of Jacob, what did they do, right? Because these kings of the Canaanites, these Amorites, they didn't really understand that Dinah was there, that they were facing their own judgment for the wickedness that they were doing. If you read the lost book of the Testament of Levi, I believe it's in the 2nd chapter, it tells you that in Shechem, these Amorites or these Canaanites were known for stealing people's wives and stealing people's women, right? By taking them by force, right? And the sons of Jacob called unto Yahuwah and said, help us, O Yahuwah. Help us and answer us, for we trust in you. And let us not die by the hands of these uncircumcised men, who this day have come against us. So not just Jacob, also the sons of Jacob. So this is a trait. We're supposed to be a praying people. We're also supposed to be a warring people. We're supposed to be men of prayer, right? Of prayer of supplication, of faith. And verse 25, and the sons of Jacob girt on their weapons of war, and they took in their hands each man his shield and his javelin, and they approached to battle. So they was war ready. And that's why this is about Judah going first, because once everyone realizes that they have inherited lies, and we are going back toward the kingdom to possess it and to take it, Judah must go first. There's no ifs, there's no ands, there's no buts. Judah must go first. And it says, and Judah, the son of Jacob, ran first before his brethren, and 10 of his servants with him. It's almost like the 10 tribes, not counting Levi. And he went toward these kings, right? So Judah went with 10 servants toward the kings of the so-called Amorites. And Jashub, king of Tapnach, also came forth first with his army before Yehudah. And Judah saw Jashub and his army coming toward him, and Judah's wrath was kindled, like, oh, this is what you want? Okay. And his anger burned within him, and he approached the battle in which Judah ventured his life. So he was risking his life to go into this war or this battle or this altercation. That's what's going to end up happening. We got to be prepared to lose our lives. That way we can save it. And Jashub and all his army were advancing toward Judah, and he was riding upon a very strong and powerful horse. And Jashub was a very valiant man, and covered with iron and brass from head to foot. So back then, everybody fought, including the kings. It wasn't all these military tactics, then you can never get to, your so-called leader. Again, back in those days and in the days to come, men are going to have to be men. Ain't going to be no hiding. Ain't going to be no hiding. And then it says, and whilst he was upon the horse, he shot arrows with both hands from before and behind. So it's almost something like off of Lord of the Rings, those elf folks. Think about that. The same physical description too. Blonde hair, blue eyes, fair skin. As was his manner in all his battles. And he never missed the place to which he aimed his arrow. So he was he was like Deadshot. If he had you in a scope, he was dead. But let's see what the prayer of faith can do. And when Jashub came to fight with Judah and was darting many arrows against Judah, Yahuwah bound the hand of Jashub, and the arrows that he shot rebounded upon his own men. So the Most High was over here. He sent an angel that's just deflecting everything to go hit Jashub's own people. Because no evil can come near Judah, right? Not near his dwelling. Nope. And at this point in time, that battlefield had become his dwelling. And notwithstanding this, Jashub kept advancing toward Judah to challenge him with the arrows. But the distance between them was about 30 cubits. And when Judah saw Jashub darting forth his arrows against him, he ran to him with his wrath-excited might. And Judah took up a large stone from the ground, and its weight was 60 shekels. And Judah ran toward Jashub, and with the stone struck him on the shield. That Jashub was stunned with the blow and fell off from his horse to the ground. So Judah was a mighty man of war. He grabbed this large stone to take down this mighty man, King Jashub, right? And the shield burst asunder, so it was destroyed out of the hand of Jashub. And through the force of the blow, sprang to the distance of about 15 cubits. So then, you just flew 15 feet or cubits. And the shield fell before the second camp. And the kings that came with Jashub saw at a distance the strength of Judah, the son of Jacob, and what he had done to Jashub, and they were terribly afraid of him. That's why it's called, you're the lion of the tribe of Judah. We're the young lions. We're the lions that are whelping. And they assembled near Jashub's camp, seeing his confusion. And Judah drew his sword and smote, or he killed 42 men of the camp of Jashub. So he just killed 42 men by himself. And the whole of Jashub's camp fled before Judah, and no man stood against him. And they left Jashub and fled from him. And Jashub was still prostrate upon the ground. And Jashub, seeing that all the men of his camp had fled from him, hastened and rose up with terror against Judah, and stood upon his legs opposite Judah. So all of his men are basically running away, and he just, like, again, that terror is on him. And now we're about to see this hand-to-hand. And Jashub had a single combat with Judah, placing shield towards shield. And Jashub's men all fled, for they were greatly afraid of Judah. And Jashub took his spear in his hand to strike Judah upon his head. But Judah had quickly placed his shield to his head against Jashub's spear, so he barely got his shield up in time. So that the shield of Judah received the blow from Jashub's spear, and the shield was split in two. And when Judah saw that his shield was split, he hastily drew his sword and smote Jashub at his ankles, and cut off his feet, that Jashub fell upon the ground, and the spear fell from his hand. And Judah hastily picked up Jashub's spear, with which he severed his head, and cast it next to his feet. So he cut off his feet, then cut off his head with Jashub's own spear. That boy was cold. That boy was cold. And when the sons of Jacob saw what Judah had done to Jashub, they all ran into the ranks of the other kings. So because Judah went first so valiantly, with the fear and terror of Yahuwah, with the prayer of the Most High on him, that gave the other tribes confidence, right, to do what they have to do. So then it says, and when the sons of Jacob saw what Judah had done to Jashub, they all ran into the ranks of the other kings. And the sons of Jacob fought with the army of Jashub, and the armies of all the kings that were there. And the sons of Jacob caused 15,000 of their men to fall. So 112 men killed 15,000. So before the 112 made 10,000 flee, this time they killed 15,000 because the fear and the terror of Yahuwah was upon them, right? This is that strange salvation to where the few can cause the many to flee and to die. To die. 15,000. And they smote them as if smiting at gourds, and the rest fled for their lives. And Judah was still standing by the body of Jashub, and stripped Jashub of his coat of mail. And Judah also took of the iron and brass that was about Jashub. And behold, 9 men of the captains of Jashub came along to fight against Judah. So Judah's still fighting these Amorites. Still fighting these Amorites. And his brothers finally came to action after he killed at least 42 men, 43 counting Jashub, right? And Judah hastened and took up a stone from the ground, and with it smote one of them upon the head. So he killed somebody else with a stone, or somebody with a stone. And his skull was fractured, and the body also fell from the horse to the ground. Mighty man of war. And the 8 captains that remained, seeing the strength of Judah, were greatly afraid, and they fled. And Judah was with his 10 men pursued them, and they overtook them and slew them. And the sons of Jacob were still smiting the armies of the kings, and they slew many of them. But those kings daringly kept their stand with their captains. So the kings, they didn't run. They was fighting. And did not retreat from their places. They exclaimed against those of their armies that fled from before the sons of Jacob. But none would listen to them, for they were afraid of their lives, or for their lives, lest they should die. And all the sons of Jacob, after having smitten the armies of the kings, returned and came before Judah. And Judah was still slaying the 8 captains of Jashub. So now, so he done slew 9 more. So he was at 43, now he's up to 52 people of Jashub, and stripping off their garments. One man then killed 50 some odd people. And Levi saw Elon, king of Gaash, advancing toward him with his 14 captains to smite him. But Levi did not know it for certain. And Elon, with his captains, approached nearer. And Levi looked back and saw that battle was given him in the rear. And Levi ran with 12 of his servants, and they went and slew Eli and his captains with the edge of the sword. So in that day, and at that time, Judah must go first. You are the sign. Pay attention to the season, because in 2024 there's going to be another eclipse that's going to complete the X on America. There's not a lot of time left, so we got to make sure that we get it right. So I'll probably be back on maybe tomorrow to finish this part about Judah must go first. Thank you all, and until next time, peace, family.